Hello, everybody. This is the Pocket Passer. I'm your host, Randy White. I hope all of you are having a fantastic day. I know I am. Today I'm joined by my good friend, Connor Rives, who helped me start iForm Nation. He was a big part of starting iForm Nation, came up with the name, was a huge motivation in getting the videos going, and he is here with me today. We're going to dive into Aaron Rodgers' compensation and the kind of trade that we should expect the Jets and Packers to agree on. And then we're going to get into what kind of paths we would like the Raiders and Packers to take in their respective off seasons, heading into the draft and so on. And then Connor has done some very extensive draft research, and he will be sharing with us a lot of his takes on A, what the Raiders should do, and just B, his best prospects, and we'll be talking over the quarterback prospects as well. Rodgers came on the Pat McAfee show several weeks ago and talked about how he wants to be traded to the Jets.
So at this point, as I sit here, I think since Friday, I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
Since then, no action has actually happened. There's been a ton of kind of muttering on the other side that's been leaked about the Jets not wanting to give up the 13th pick and the Packers pretty much demanding the 13th pick. From what I've heard, it sounds a lot like they won't be getting the 13th pick. If I were a Packer fan, obviously I'd be pretty upset about that. But Rodgers basically declaring that he wants to play for the Jets and talking about the lack of communication between the Packers and the Jets, between him and the Packers and Gutekunst. And then Gutekunst coming out and saying that they tried to communicate and that Rodgers didn't return calls.
You just said you did try and reach out to have those conversations.
Oh, yeah, many times.
And all this drama that has taken place between Rodgers and the Packers since then kind of puts it out there that there is no way that Rodgers is ever playing for the Packers again. And that gives the Jets a lot of leverage. And I don't think the Jets are going to be willing to give up that 13th pick unless absolutely necessary. They came out and said they weren't interested in Lamar Jackson because that would be disingenuous considering that they're all in on the Rodgers trade. And if that does fall through, it would be interesting to see what they go with that. But in the meantime, they're trying to find a way to get Rodgers over to New York without giving up the 13th pick. I think it'd be very interesting and very impressive if they managed to do that. And there'd definitely be a lot of people in Wisconsin very, very, very angry about that if they can't even manage to get a top 15 pick to help with the pick they already have at 15. So Jordan Love is going to be the guy rolling forward. And honestly, as a Packer fan who loves Rodgers, Rodgers is my favorite player, and he'll continue to be my favorite player wherever he goes if he does, in fact, play for the Jets like he says he wants to. But Jordan Love is the best option for Green Bay right now. Rodgers is very expensive. They can trade him, get draft capital, get some players to improve the team, and hope that Jordan Love is the guy they drafted him to be. There's no point in trading up and spending a first-round pick on a guy if you're eventually just going to end up trading him for what Jordan Love's value would be, which is probably a third-round pick at best right now. So no reason not to roll with him, especially with the state that Rodgers is in with the Packers. So they're doing the best thing they can, and if they can get the 13th pick, it's absolutely the best move for Green Bay to move Rodgers. Your comments on that?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing to start is who has the leverage. So who actually has the control over this situation? And obviously it's been widely debated across multiple media platforms. Some people argue the Jets because the Packers don't want to be stuck with Rodgers to start the year, and the Jets can just go hands off and say, whatever, we'll just go into the season with Zach Wilson. We love him anyways. And they can try that.
By the way,
they can try that. It'd be interesting. They can try that.
Countdown is presented by ZipRecruiter.
But and then other people say the Packers because the Jets have put themselves in this position where they are now all in on Rodgers, and if they don't get him for training camp, don't get him to start the year, it puts them in a very difficult spot, especially with some of the free agents they brought in who are expecting Aaron Rodgers to be the quarterback. Some of the younger guys who have bought into Aaron Rodgers being the quarterback. It makes things...
They brought in Alan Lazard.
Yeah, they brought in Alan Lazard.
They've talked to Randall Cobb. They've talked to Mercedes Lewis.
Yeah,
They're talking to Odell.
Odell's the big one. I mean, Odell Beckham is not going to sign with the Jets if Aaron Rodgers is not there.
Yeah.
And that's just not a reality.
And he almost definitely will sign if Aaron Rodgers is there.
Exactly. So, I think both sides have leverage. I think it is a two-way thing because the Packers need to dump that salary as much as they can. Now, if to get more draft compensation, they have to pay some of that, send some money with him, I think they will. I think they're
I
willing
think
to
it's
do
worth
that.
it to do that.
Yes, I think that they are willing to do that. However, I don't know that the Jets will ever be willing to give up their next first-round pick for a quarterback at that age. I mean, he's 39. And we're talking about a guy who the last, 3 years has been talking about retiring. And it's looming over every offseason. And, I mean, for Packers fans, it was okay at first, and then, okay, we're done.
And then he comes
We're
on the Pat
sick of
McAfee
it.
show and he talks about how going into the darkness retreat, he was 90% retiring.
Exactly.
At this point, I got to admit, I went in the darkness, 90% retiring.
And whether that's true or not, he still said it on the air. And that's going to raise some red flags for a team that's trying to trade for him.
Yeah, and it's bad for the Jets in one way, but it's great for them in another way because that does give them some leverage. Like we're trading for an older quarterback who might be out of his prime, probably is, who keeps talking about retirement. We might have him for a year. So
and they want to protect themselves and say, hey, we'll give you like a next year's first round pick if he stays.
Yeah.
But there has to be some kind of a condition. If he retires, we'll give you this pick, and if he doesn't retire, we'll give you this pick.
Yeah, I've been seeing a lot of 2 seconds and then a conditional pick.
I've seen that too. Yeah.
I've been seeing that a whole lot. I think that makes a whole lot of sense. I also believe that the Packers are going to be very stubborn. This is Aaron Rodgers that we're talking about.
And the
now.
Packers know that if Rodgers plays and they do well, next year's first round pick is not going to be the 13th pick in the draft.
Yes.
Like it could be. Heck, I don't think it will, but it could be the 32nd pick in the draft,
Yeah.
And that's basically a second round pick at that point. Green Bay's not trying to lose 20 spots in their pick.
So I think what it really comes down to is if the Jets are to give up the 13th overall pick for Rodgers, then the Packers are going to have to throw in a player, or the Packers are going to have to throw in another draft pick as well at the furthest back being like a third round pick. Like they would have to be throwing something in, and then there would probably be a conditional pick attached to the 13th pick as well. So maybe like a late round, 5th or 6th round pick that could turn into a 3rd or 4th.
Yeah.
Given Rodgers' performance, injury concerns, playoff performance, even Super Bowl contention, because we've seen that in the past where trades have included picks where if your team goes to this distance and this player is playing, then the pick increases in value.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting. I think conditional picks are obviously going to be involved. I mean, that's got to be a huge part of it.
It has to be because you got a guy with a lot of variables around him.
Yes.
So there's got to be
For sure.
variables in the contract to some extent as far as the trade agreement goes.
Yeah, and as much as it seems like the Jets owner wants to attack this and wants to go get Aaron Rodgers,
Yeah.
he's experienced a not so great experience with this in the past with the Packers quarterback that he
Brett
traded
Favre
for,
pulled up for 1 year.
and then
Yeah.
he's gone. So wants to go play in the same division as the Packers. And Aaron Rodgers, as much as he doesn't seem to want to be Brett Favre, is starting to behave a lot like him. So that is something, again, that gives the Jets a little bit of leverage of we have a history of trading with you guys, and it hasn't gone well. So obviously the Packers are in a difficult spot, and so are the Jets.
But if
So
you want to talk about Packer leverage, I mean, the Packers can look the Jets in the face and go, hey, you want to pull up week 1 and have those Jersey fans showing up, and it's Zach Wilson at quarterback 1, or, I don't know, Joe Flacco stays with the team, or Mike White's gone. Like, there's nothing interesting going on there at quarterback. So it's like, okay, let's see how your fans react when Zach Wilson is your quarterback 1 for the 3rd straight year after he's done absolutely nothing the last 2 years except just be like, oh, he's not good.
yeah, or, a bad option is a guy like Teddy Bridgewater or a guy like Carson Wentz who's still available. Maybe you just want to have a veteran in there to plug in. But
Carson Wentz didn't do too hot in Washington, and he had
No.
Terry McLaurin to throw to. So it's like, in the Jets' offensive line is probably better than what Washington's was last year, especially with getting Mekhi Becton back, because
Yes.
their offensive line is underrated because people forget that it was very injured last year, and that's part of why it was so bad.
yes.
But it's still not a great offensive line. And Carson Wentz is far away from the MVP frontrunner he was before he got hurt when they won the Super Bowl. And, I mean, he was good the year after that, too, for a little bit, and then he got hurt again, and it's just been mediocrity since then. So, sure, go ahead and put Carson Wentz in there. You lost your backup plan with Jimmy Garoppolo because because the whole thing got drawn out as long as it did. So, you have no backup plan except to maybe, if you want to send 2 first-round picks over to get Lamar. But frankly, with Lamar's play style, and I might get some heat for this, but I don't think Lamar's prime is much longer than what Aaron Rodgers has to play. So I feel like you're getting similar longevity, but more expensive because you'll be giving up 2 first-round picks instead of just maybe 1, which you're trying to avoid doing. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense for me to pivot to Lamar.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously with Teddy Bridgewater, he's got knees like the glasses at your grandma's house. That you drop it, it shatters.
That is fine china if I've ever seen.
Yes,
it.
exactly. Yes. That's Teddy Bridgewater's legs.
Yes.
It's unfortunate, but it's true, and it's been true back to his college days. So that's a major concern for any team looking at him as a backup, especially after what happened in the NFC Championship game this year, where 2 quarterbacks go down within 5 minutes of game time. That's a concern for teams now. They want their backup to, not have those injury concerns, not carry that kind of concern. But yeah, the Lamar Jackson option for the Jets, the big reason it doesn't work for me is because of Nathaniel Hackett. Now, Nathaniel Hackett, when he was with the Broncos, was not calling plays that worked to Russell Wilson's strengths, and it made Russell Wilson awful. And
I agree.
Obviously, some of Russell Wilson's decision-making was just terrible. But that is overshadowed by Nat Hackett's play calling. So you bring in a guy like Lamar Jackson, Hackett's not going to change his ways. He has an offense that he likes to run.
Hackett has an offense that melds perfectly with Rodgers' play style.
Exactly.
But it does not meld with a Russell Wilson or especially a Lamar Jackson, who's even more mobile and relies on his legs so much more than Russell Wilson does.
Yes, 100%.
So, yeah, I 100% agree with you. That would not work out because the whole purpose of them bringing in Hackett as the offensive coordinator was we're getting Rodgers.
Yes.
So, I agree 100%. And honestly, that was why Denver brought in Hackett, too. It just didn't work out for him.
Yep.
So, and we saw it didn't work out for him. So, do you really want to do the same thing? Only instead of, he's still a play caller, which is what he was with the Broncos.
Yeah.
So, you get a guy who doesn't meld with them. It's the same thing that happened in Denver. And you're going to get the same result, if not worse. So.
Yep, 100%.
Well, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this content, if you want my friend Connor Rives to come back on the show, make sure to leave a like on this video, subscribe, turn on bell icon, turn on the notifications, whatever I just said. Make sure to follow my Instagram and my TikTok where individual clips of this video will be uploaded. Make sure to follow my friend at, facemask.football?
Yep.
Facemask.football. He's running his Instagram account over there, so make sure to go check out his page. Give him a follow if you like his content over there. And thank you all so much for watching. Hope to get you on the show again, my friend.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it.
Yep. We will see you in the next video.